All right, all you devils out there, happy Friday. Sam here. Well, let's see. It's about, it's almost 3 o'clock for me here in Austin. Now, I'm getting this out kind of late, right, as members would expect this middle of the day. But it's never ideal, well, for me, when the first falls on a Friday. I, like so many business owners, spend more than that, most of my day dealing with admin. So with that behind me now, we'll focus here. Now, I'm going old school, no camera. See, there's a good example of why. Apparently with my the system we've been using previously, I was under the impression that the muting I was doing was working. And so when I'm getting attacked by allergies, I'm thinking I'm muting, and apparently I've been coughing right in the mic. One of my members was kind enough to alert me to that. So I'm going to go back to the old setup here where I have a mic that I can see. I know it's muted if I need to. Okay, so that aside. Well, okay. Now, so first, before we dive into Bitcoin here, just a big thanks to all the new members. So glad to see the response on the Black Friday promotion. I mean, save some money, why not? But very, very nice to see, and we've got a lot of new members, a lot of new blood. So it should be an interesting launch into the new year. Okay, with all of that done, let's get down to the TA here. Now, this is just a very slight adjustment to really just looking to accommodate higher prices if we get them. The 95% of this count came from one of my senseis, James M., who's really a very, very skilled Elliottian. And I'm in almost complete agreement with this. This is open to interpretation down here. It really doesn't matter. I mean, suppose you were a kind of a lazy Elliottian, and you're like, oh, fuck it, right? And you just went, 1, 2. Well, that's not going to be 3, so 1, 2. Well, now, if you have more of a mind to solve the puzzle with rules and guidelines, as James M. does, he's going to go 1, A, B, C into the 2, leading diag into the 1, 2, right? So you end up at the same 2. It almost doesn't matter how you interpret this. Oh, it is open to some interpretation. My count had it slightly different. It doesn't matter. It's 1, 2, 1, 2, no matter how you slice it. But then guess what? Another 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? It's very bullish. Okay, so as we look at this, now he was the one who had me looking here for an ending diag, and all I've done is just open it up a little bit for the possibility that we get a little bit more kick here. Now it's tricky in here. There's a number of impulse waves, right? So I'm trying to accommodate that. There's a couple of spots where it's, you're making your best estimate as to what's here, because this could change, right? We could be done right where we are. Could be done, right? And we'd be looking for a 4 to bring us down here, and then a chance to get long again. Could be there. Oh, shit. Hang on. Can you tell I was rushing today? I forgot to mute my other machine. Okay, so the other possibility here is that we'd have another little 3 down here, and we'd come back up for a C. Now, we don't want this going, with regards to this TA pattern, if we blow up here, we're going to invalidate the idea that we have an ending diag. So as it sits right now, remember an Elliott count is just a snapshot in time. It's very subject to change based on the market's price action. But as it sits right now, the idea here of coming into this ending diag, let me get this out of here, to complete this third here. Now, let's keep that in context. Let me draw it, right, just so we're all in sync here. And of course, if you're a member, right, you may have already done this and seen this. 3, 4, 5, right? That's what we're after, right? Per this labeling, this count, right? It has the right look, right? Good proportion, monster impulse in the middle of it. Do we know that that's what the count's going to be? No, but right now I would give that the highest probability. Now, we blow up. I'm so behind schedule. We blow up here, and we're going to have to reconsider this. We roll over. Okay, it's just a question of, are we done, or are we just starting into a B wave before we go up for the C to finish the third? No way to know that, really. So we just adapt here. Now, one thing I can say with absolute certainty, now this is not financial advice, not trading advice. I personally would not buy that. Right, I'm a retracement trader, so if it launches here, okay, so be it. Right, I'll eventually, that's going to come. would be my. So, the market's not obligated to do anything, but at some point, right, there'll be some profit taking. So my guess is we're in this range here, whether it's here or we get a little higher. Now, again, if we blow up higher, we'll revisit the count. So let me go. Maybe a 30-minute is what we need here, right, to open this up a little bit here. And just, if you're, the reason I do this is because if you're at home diagnosing this, trying to go, how do I, hopefully this is helpful to you. Okay, so here's the only variation that I made from his count. This appears to me that if this is indeed our 4, we've gone some sort of A, B, C, or W, X, Y. It doesn't matter. Just we're corrective here. Then we come out of the gate here. I get an impulse. I get 3 into a B, and then I'm coming straight up into another impulse. So I'm getting this ABC as the launch point for the 1, as opposed to putting it over here. Right, just trying to accommodate a series of 3. Now you could certainly. It's not as James had it. Oh, come here. It's not like he's made a mistake here. I'm just, or anything like that. That certainly could be the 3 needed for this to be the 1, this to be the 2. But then it didn't flow as well for me here. If this was 1, 2. Do I have a 3 here? Is that ABC? It felt like if I open this up a bit more, that this could play just fine here. Now, if we do it this way, there's a little bit of an Elliott shuffle here if we're going to do it this way, 3, I got to put my 4 somewhere in here. That's ridiculously big. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, right? A little sideways chop here up to the 5. There's no way to be certain. But I can see a valid count here, and I just like the way it separates a little bit more. So A, B, C into the B, straight up for the C. So I got A, B, C into a 1, A, B, C into a 2. There's no way around this, right? And this is an impulse all day long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you got to fit it in. Where does it fit? Well, if you were at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. I mean, there's a number of different ways this can go. I am never, ever on this channel doing a video saying that my count is the right count. This is a slight alternate to, but what many Elliottians likely are looking at here. It does feel like, okay, I could finish this with another zigzag. Right, this is a little tricky here because we don't get quite the 5th. I'd love to have seen the 5 come up here and tag that trend line. But if this is a completed impulse and I'm correcting here, well, I got another impulse here. So how do we fit that in? And is there yet another one still to come? Hard to say, right? So I'm just looking at this going, okay, well, if this were the A, right? So if we went 1, ABC 2. A, B, C, 3. Again, I would love this 5 to be up here. I'd have more conviction in it because the other possibility is that the 3 is here and we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 little internal impulse here. This is the 4, and now we're going to do A, B, C again. So there's a lot of just variation here in terms of what the possibilities are, and ultimately, all we're trying to do is get the right retracement. So if indeed, as I have it counted here, we're putting in, and we don't know if that's top now, right? It'll be right in pretty close to that trend line. We don't know if that's done. If we come back down here, are we doing a B, C? Or is the top in, and then we're starting into a bigger ABC? Too soon to call it, right? So again, either way, I mean, you could be, if you're just raging bull, right? We know the ETFs are coming, when the halving's coming. Or if you're just a bit bullish, right? Well, the 1, 2 here, that certainly is possible. That we just go off and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to get out of here with some sort of a big impulse here. That would invalidate the idea of a contracting diag. And we'll be back here next week, or if not sooner, revisiting this count, going, okay, what are we doing with this? There's always a solution, which just for a minute, I say that kind of glibly. Amazingly, and probably the most, at least in my mind, the most amazing thing about Elliott Wave, whether you love it or you hate it, a good Elliottician can always find the solution. Always. Now, there are times when the count is just, it's so much slop chop that you have to pull out to a higher time frame and go with the implied count. But one way or another, there is a way to solve it with rules and guidelines. So, a little plug for Elliott Wave. Right now, I'm not an Elliott purist, right? Well, as I've done my whole career, I mix things, right? So the fundamental premise of the TradeDevils methodology was 3 technical components, right? Fibs, geometry, Elliott Wave. Well, we've added into that now, but just by popular demand, and just because it's so popular, and because it doesn't in any way detract from the other work that we're doing. It's just added in market structure because that's so pervasive in the market. It's what interests people. So I look at that and I go, well, as an educator, does this conflict with anything we're teaching? Quite the contrary. It complements it, right? So now I'd say that, and that's very much a part of what now will be our extended belts, the brown, potentially black, will be with emphasis on incorporating market structure and some of the nuances of the smart money concepts, again, so popular these days, and how we can use Elliott Wave in conjunction with that, or vice versa. Smart money in conjunction with a wave count, right? I think it just gives you more flexibility. Now, it's a little more demanding on the technician. It's more to learn. Well, if you're not here to learn, why are you watching my videos? Okay, right. So 3, 4, I got a 5. I got an impulse, right? But I'm in a diag, so I can't be done here, right? You would think, oh, A, B, C, then maybe I'm done. Well, what am I doing? All I'm doing is completing the 5th of the 3rd. At this degree, right? So we come back out, right? Up, right? 1, 2, 3. Well, keep in mind that what we're trying to do here, there's another leg in here. So we have 1, 2, shit, now I got to find it. Okay, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Well, there's another 1, 2 in there, right? Which can make you uncomfortable. Really? 3, 4, 5? Now, the look, not as good here because of the very, very shallow start. I had a YouTube sub comment last week, I think it was, suggesting that waiting, which we'll look at this in a second, waiting for a deep retracement or 50 to 618 on Bitcoin is a mistake because it's prone to very shallow wave 2s. Well, he's got a point. But I don't adapt my technical approach to a market, right? I stay consistent to that approach. And just as I was suggesting earlier, right? I mean, it's not like we can't have a shallow 2. Right? It's not like it doesn't happen. So it's not where I would focus my roadmap here to say, oh, well, I'm counting on a shallow 2, so I'm going to trade that accordingly. I would keep my roadmap, for lack of a better term here. If we're going to have a deeper 2, if we're going to finish up here and get a 2, I'm going to look for it more deeply, at least a 50. And that, for a number of reasons, right? Remember, of course, we can just bring in a little smart money here, right? If we've got an impulse that completes here, I'm going to buy in the discount, not the premium. So that would be a 50. Something to think about, right? But if it's a 30 or a 23, so be it, right? I mean, it's a high-class problem for a bull. Now, it makes it a little trickier to time the entry. So these are, nobody said this was going to be easy. Okay, let's get that out of here. So as it sits right now, we are trying to complete the third, we're trying to complete the 3rd of the internal structure here to get the 3rd of the higher degree to get to the 5th of the higher degree, which all in counts. Well, let's go all the way back here. We go to an 8, probably get it. Now, if this is, his count is slightly more bullish. If this is 1, 2, 1, 2, right? All of this, wow, right? I mean, you start thinking, oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, all those need a 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that's got some big legs, right? If that count is going to play. Now, again, open to interpretation. This can be counted a couple of different ways. I actually have, which is rare for me, I have this as a 1, 2, right? Because you can count this 2 different ways. His is more bullish than mine. It's rare that I'm looking at a count from someone that's more bullish than mine. But there be it, right? 1, 2, 1, 2 means we've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I think you follow me, or if you've got a basic concept of the fractal nature of Elliott Wave, of waves within waves. So if this is 1, 2, well, I'm looking for a big impulse to complete. If it's 1, 2, same thing. Still looking for a 3 to complete. So, choose your bullhorn, right? You want to get uber bullish. Here's a good count for you. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and let the market prove it to you, okay, well, you can back off and go with a 1-2. And let's see, right? Again, high class problem for a bull. Okay, so I think this is a little bit of hurry up and wait here to see if we are we going to blow up and out of this ending diag, or is this the pivot here that creates the retrace to give us an opportunity to get into that 4, right? Wherever that comes in, up to the 5, right? So I think you all get that. Okay, got you covered there. Okay, right. So let me keep moving here. Again, I'm so far behind schedule. Let me get this done. I'm sure we'll do more detail, or some of my guys will do more detail. If not over the weekend, early next week. Okay, so there's Bitcoin covered. I was going to do the bonds and the S&P. Let's go to the bonds first, because this is really what's driving so much of what's happening right now. All right, so I'm on a daily here. Oh, we've been looking at this. I've looked at this a few times. It's pretty good Elliott in here. So 1, we got to go 2, 1, 2. Oh, let me get that. I've got sonar on there. Let me get that off just for a second, right? So while we're looking at the Elliott, let's diagnose, and then we'll drop in to some of the market structures, see if that's adding anything. Okay, so as it sits right now, right, this is why you're seeing the market all of a sudden get excited. 1, 2. I got a completed impulse there. I got to account for it. 4, well, oh, all of a sudden, right, I'm getting a kicker. What would appear to be, I'm getting an extension in the 5th. And this is interesting. So the 1, 2 here, this, I was just kind of eyeballing this, just looking, right, very, very, very within ticks of the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like that's moving nice. I guess I can get that out of here. Okay, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, well, now while we can have a shallow 2, my educated guess would be that we have not completed here, and this is the 2. My assumption would be we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1. We got a flat here. I got an A, B, C into a 2, and oh, another impulse. Now, what's interesting here, again, right, there's things that don't happen randomly. Let's just make sure I'm spot on that. Oh, I added this extension here. We'll just drop that out for a second. Oh, well, here, actually. Let's hide that. Bear with me. Hide. Okay, right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a 1. A, B, C of a B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a C to give me a 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So candidate here. Hang on. Candidate is that the 3 is in here. Because, right? So again, things that do not happen randomly. Like we are spared that overlap. Actually, it looks like it's a perfect double. Get that right on there. Oh shit. It is a perfect double. Perfect double. Right? So I mean, again, okay, so you look at that and you go, oh, is that the 3? Or is this the 3? You could probably do it either way. You could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be a smaller 3. Again, these are high class problems. Now look at the imbalance here. So we have this nice displacement here. We get a fair value gap, right? So the liquidity that was here has been grabbed, and these stops hit hard. Displacement 1, 2. Now we're starting to get to where we're going to have a pretty substantial extension here. So you got to kind of watch this in terms of whether you're trading it or just kind of keeping an eye on this for direction with things that would be influenced by it. Obviously, crypto is going to be influenced by it. But if we're going to keep going here, if this is 3, maybe 4 yet to come, unless, right, it could be this, right? Because we got a perfect retrace here. Well, pardon me. We have to double check this. Let's just double check our length here, right? So we have to watch here. See, this is part of why I'm looking at this going, well, that could be the 3, right? 1, we got to, shit, what am I on, a 4 hour? Let's go to a 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3. Then at least we'd be at 100% the length of the 1. Now, it still could be here. Remember, 3 doesn't have to be the longest, just can't be the shortest. So at least right here, if it plays here, oh, let's label it, right? So if we're going to do this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at this degree, right? And nothing says that couldn't continue on. Well, let's look at what do I have underneath. Well, the RSI is getting, at least we're 70 here. No signs of anything other than, okay, we're over 70, right? But we could stay pinned over there for a while. But that might be telling you a little bit, okay, right? We're getting a little hot. Let's put that in something we can see a little bit better. Okay, so we'd have 1, 2, potentially 3, working on 4, looking for 5 of 5. Now here, we'll probably use the fibs as a good target here. Pretty good looking extension if that's going to be what we get. I don't see much of an alternate here. 3, 4, 5. We got to work with that. That's the 4. That's not the 2. All right, so again, this is all good news for a bull, whether you're pretty much risk on, right? If this keeps going, right, risk on will start to be the call that you'll hear. Great finish, good start. What are we doing here? Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher higher high. Right, so the trend is very much intact. We're actually getting a little wonkier. So I had drawn this. Let's see if I can get a set of median lines. Looks like we've already got it. Get you out of there. Get you out of there. Okay, let's get you right there. You want these spot on these pivots. So bear with me while I get that tight. Okay, so here is our 80% already realized. Right? That burns it. We're back to it. Right? So there's no requirements. We've already burned the 80, right? So it's not like, 80% we're going to get there. Now, we still may get there, but I'd be looking at a secondary one, right? I'd be looking at this one. Right there. Okay, so let's get this one out, right? Maybe we're redrawing that again, right? Remember, we've got the channeling as well. But if I'm working off of this pivot right here, remember, once we're here, 80% odds, right? As long as this pivot holds, well, looks like we got it. Looks like we're going to get it again, right? So this is a little bit of a front run here, it would appear. 2, 3, that looks pretty good here. Coming into the median line as we hit 3, right? Second target. Now we've got lots of unmitigated sections up here, and let's get some context here. Oh shit, let's go to 4. All right, what's the biggie that we're looking for? Well, of course, this will be the big one, right? We're coming right up to the 50. Now you can look at all of these, right? There's unmitigated supply. Think of it that way. All the way back, right? It looks like this one, we're tapping it now. Right, so if I draw it this way here, it's the upswing, right? So these are the areas that are unmitigated. Now we're just tapping into this one right now, right here, right? So I'd be watching for, do we keep going? And we got the next one, then we got the next one, right? So all of these are, you can think of them just supply zones that you got to watch for how the market responds there, right? If I bring this over, okay, we're just getting there. Now that would make sense, right? Potentially, right? We tap some of this, come back down for the 4, then up for the 5, looking for the 5 of the 5. Of course, anything's possible, right? But to just keep going, less likely, without some sort of a retrace. All right, so that's what we're looking at there. All looks pretty good. My guess is the majority of you don't do a lot of bond trading, but if you do, well, there you go. Right, and if you don't, you always want to keep an eye on interest rates, just so you get a sense of how aggressive the market is likely to be. Let's get this one out of here. All right, so there's the bonds trying to work on a 4-5 to get up to complete the 1 off the low. Right, so if indeed we're going to be bullish, if we're doing a 1 here. 1, 2, off we go, right? And then it's risk on big time. Okay, out to the ES. Now, this is, again, this is my signature trade, right? This is why I show these. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not because it's my signature trade. It happens to be my signature trade, but I show these for you so that you'll consider this as a technical analysis tool because they're incredibly effective. Oh, I showed it on the on the live stream, which not all of you I would imagine have seen, but I think the Microsoft golden corner is maybe the golden corner of the year. But this one is certainly a contender here. I mean, this is almost a straight line. Now, we're not there yet. Right out of the, so just so we all understand, what makes it a golden corner is we're coming out of the golden zone. So I've got 80% odds that I get there. Anybody want to bet against that? Now look what's going to happen when it gets there, right? We're going to tap this pivot, right? Anybody want to be a buyer there? Anybody? Yeah, I thought not. Right? I mean, I go out of my way to try and keep you all from doing that. So we look over here and we go, oh, well, what happened the last time someone bought here? That had to sting. Now, I'm not saying we can't get through this and that we must retrace from that. But boy, if you were mapping this out, wouldn't that be a candidate that you might consider? Right? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but if we ping up here and we start to pull back a little, oh, right, would look pretty good. Out of there. This is close enough to where you would start to think, right, we're going to get this close and not run it. You know, we may not get it on this one, right? But it's actually more bullish if we don't. I'd rather, right, as a bull, I'd rather not see that happen. I'd rather we pivot here, because then if you follow that thinking, if we pivot here and we come back down, what's coming is going to blow it out, right? It'll be huge, right? So if we just keep going here and we trickle, we get past it, odds are we're just going to go up here and sweep it and then start something deeper. But these are all just projections, hypotheses. We don't know. Market is going to do what it's going to do. We just try and not do something stupid and try and roll with it. So we know there's a ton of liquidity up here. We know there's a ton of liquidity right here, which is all the more why you might anticipate we'll tap the median line. We'll sweep the liquidity up here. Is it enough? Right? You can see the path. I'm like, oh, okay. Now we're going to go get the top. Right now we're going to go get all that. Seems a reasonable path. Now, the other question mark here, also from a YouTube sub, right? I mean, I don't read your comments, right? Excuse me. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Well, it could be, right? Because we don't overlap that. We're spared by a couple of ticks. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 going for 5? Could be. 5 could be higher. Could be. 5 could be up here. But his suggestion was, and I'm inclined to agree with him here, what's more common, see, the problem with this is, one, the 3 isn't, if we're going to have a rip-roaring bull, it's not far enough, right? It's barely 100%, or it's just past 100% of the 1. So you might anticipate 1, 2, bummer. Well, if we're going to have a 3, if we're going to have a big 3 at that degree, why not a 1, 2, right? It's a better fit right here. So thus the thinking, as he suggested, which was a very good comment, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get you something. Oh, minuet at work here that we've done 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Guess what that would be? Another 1, 2. All that still yet to come. Now, again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm saying that's what's kind of lining up here as a reasonable candidate for how this could play out. 1, 2, well, it's pretty reasonable. If it's 1, 2, well, we got to have an impulse. It's just that 1, 2 completed impulse might make you think 3. Then again, it's just like the one when we looked at in the bonds. If it's 1, 2, 3, we come back. Really, we're going to go to the tick and not overlap it. Again, that's not people doing that. That's only machines are that precise. And software. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Boy, is that bullish. Whew. 5,600, 6,000 in the S&P seems 24, 25. Right, very doable. Okay, I think I got everybody covered there. Well, this is certainly, pay attention here, right? If we tag that median line, now it doesn't mean that we have to reject it, right? We often, trading principle number 3, if we don't pivot on it, we might roll around on it a little bit while the market decides which way it's going, towards the upper parallel or lower, because we have the potential to be completing an impulse here. Oh, let's here we're dropping off here. That's a cumulative delta. But this is what you would want to kind of keep your eye on, right? We had the big push here. Now the volume is drifting. Big push. Okay, good. Right now, again, is with any indicator like this that can climb, right? If we start to roll here, that divergence is going to evaporate pretty quickly. But as it sits right now, you've got all the ingredients for this to pivot, come down for the 2 and up for the 3, and that would be again extremely bullish. If it's 1 2 1 2 1 2, whew. Game on. Okay, I think I got everybody. Okay, I'm going to wrap it there just because it's so late here and I still have to, oh God, you guys render. I got to render and upload it. It takes another hour to get it up on YouTube. Okay, guys, that's all I got. These are my little issues here. None of your concern. I appreciate you guys watching, sticking around. I always hope you get a little something. But really what I hope is that you leave this in. I always suggest don't try and model mine, right? Just if you've watched this, then you won't remember it. Go to you might, oh yeah, that was the one. See if you just do it yourself, right? And then if you get stuck, come back and go, how did he solve that? All I'm doing is demonstrating exactly what I think you're going to do, and then giving you a few thoughts along the way. So maybe you say, oh shit, I hadn't thought to put that median line on. For shit, I got a golden corner. It's got 80% odds. Those are the kind of things that I hope you take from these, and you start incorporating them into your own technical analysis. And when in doubt, right, two things to be remembering, right? Patience. I've been talking about this a lot lately, but the famous quote from. Now I don't remember if it was Munger or if it was Buffett, but I think it's Buffett. Wealth and investment is the transfer of wealth and capital from the impatient to the patient, right? So the thing that kills more traders is impatience and trading too big, right? And why are they trading too big? Because they're impatient. Simple as that, right? Or they took a loser and like, oh shit, I got to get that back, so I'm going to double down on this next one. Those are such common trading errors, and people can't understand why. Oh man, it would be like, oh shit, oh here I got a golden corner, right? Well, just because you have it here doesn't mean that that's guaranteed. There are no guarantees in the market, other than if you're not patient, if you overtrade, if you took too much risk on your trading size, you're likely not long for the market in your current account. It'll be a blowout, and then you reload it. But you have to learn these things by doing. So always what I'm trying to do is save you from all the mistakes I've made or that I've watched hundreds of other traders make. That's really what I'm trying to do here, is shorten that learning curve. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. We're back next week. If I've got some new content here, I'll get it out Monday or Tuesday, but you can count on the live stream on Wednesday. Okay, guys, have a good weekend.